Zed Podcast presents Review Zed.
Good morning, good evening, or good day, and welcome to the Review Zed Podcast, this game review spawn of the Zed Podcast. If the game has achievements, then we'll try to cover it here. I'm your host, Damien, and thank you for listening. The exciting news is this is our inaugural podcast. If you listened to the Zed podcast in the past, then you're probably familiar with our format. We'll be bringing you a separate weekly show covering just reviews of new and sometimes overlooked Xbox titles. This week, we'll be paying witness to the witness, and I'm going to be joined with my co-host, Randy. And Randy, how are you?
Well, I'm rainy as usual. No, but this is cool. So, yeah, we've decided to try and shorten the length of the main show and bring some new people on board and get some more opinions and get through our impossibly large backlog that we have now of games to review that we're going to spin off and do a second show.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll be able to review more games for our listeners. And, you know, as you said, we'll have some other... Starting in the next episode, we'll have some other co-host with us. So
this week we'll just have one review, but our goal is to have 2 a week now. So, But just we won't be reviewing 2 games a week. It will be myself and Damien as well as a few others, and we'll be pairing up to tackle a couple games a week.
Yeah, but much in the format that the listeners of Zed to Zed are probably used to. So
Exactly.
So
with that, let's talk about The Witness.
All right. So The Witness is developed and published by Thekla. I guess that's how they're pronounced. And it is Xbox One title. It was actually released onto Xbox One in September of 2016. So, little. It's been out there for a while. But
it's okay.
Yeah, it happens. But This is actually part of the ID program, but one of the pricier ID titles. This actually comes with a Xbox Live Store price of $39.99. So,
which I think is like the second tied for the second highest price, maybe at least that I've seen. And the most expensive one that I've seen just came out, and that's trolling me. I think that one's $50 or $60. So it's very, very up there on the price scale.
Yeah. Now, I will say, so this game it's a puzzle game. Just straight, it's an open world puzzle. You basically come to in this world. You're the only one there. You're a person, you can tell from your shadow. And that you have to solve puzzles to, initially what you're finding is you start getting these lasers activated. Every laser that you activate, that's where your achievements are related to. But why you're even activating lasers, I couldn't tell you. I'm a few hours into it, I've unlocked a few, and I'm still trying to really piece together, what am I doing here?
Yeah, so I guess, okay, so I did read up on this game a bit, so we'll talk about the gameplay first, and then I'll kind of dig into my theory. So this is a game that I don't have a lot of patience. I don't have enough patience for to really enjoy. This is me personally. This isn't a fault of the game. This is me. This is kind of why I don't play a ton of puzzle games. I got really frustrated with it. The puzzles are hard, and they get hard really, really fast. So there is no guidance. Well, I shouldn't say that. There's very little guidance. So,
yeah, basically you'll find an introductory puzzle that will get you, I guess, on
it
board
explains the rules of the puzzle in that area. That's all it explains. And the only way that you can figure out those rules is by trial and error. So some of them will flash red and give you a hint like, oh, something's wrong in this area of the puzzle. But that's it. It won't even tell you what the rules are or why it's wrong. It just tells you it's wrong.
Yeah, and so it makes skipping ahead in the game extremely infuriating because you may get somewhere and then you're suddenly going, I have no idea what I'm supposed to do with these puzzles. So you have to start backtracking to find one of those introductory puzzles that might start walking you through going, okay,
and even the introductory puzzles, I got stuck on like halfway through because there's like usually 5 or 6 of them and they get progressively harder.
Yeah.
And some of those I couldn't even make it past the third or the fourth one after sitting there for like 10, 15 minutes, just kind of banging my head against the wall. And there's no hint button, nothing.
Yeah.
It's you just have to try. And every time you play the game, they're slightly different. So it's not like you can just look up a guide and skip ahead. Like you actually have to solve all these puzzles yourself.
Yeah, if anything, you could look at a guide that might give you an idea of, oh, that's the rule that this puzzle's doing, but then your puzzle might slightly differ, so you still have to figure it out. It reminded me a lot of Myst, but where Myst had different puzzles that interacted and puzzles were fairly unique. This is kind of they're all of those, this is all just this interactive puzzle where you, at least for all the ones that I've done so far, you have to follow these like mapped lines, and so while they all slightly vary, it's just all the same principle. So it is, and each section's taking, without trying to use any guide or skipping ahead, 3 hours. There's 7 areas plus the final puzzle. So if you're playing this legitimately, you could easily spend 20 to 30 hours playing puzzles. So for the price point, you definitely get your money's worth in terms of puzzles, but I just found it really
have
repetitive.
to like those puzzles. Yeah, and the puzzles are all effectively the same puzzle with different rules. Yeah. They vary a bit, and there's a few different things, but I think it was unfortunate that you have this, and it looks great. Like the game is very well put together. There's clearly been some serious time invested. When I looked it up, the budget was almost $1 million. Wow. So I mean, it's had some serious development and thought put into it. But the problem is you have this big open world that's completely empty, and you can't really I mean, I guess the point is to explore it, but it's really hard to explore when you have to go in a almost linear path to learn how to solve the puzzles, because sure, you can skip ahead to, the puzzle that has 8 rule sets all in place at once, but you're never going to figure out how to do it unless you've played the game before.
Yeah.
So it was kind of unfortunate in that aspect, in that they built this world to explore, but made it very difficult to explore it in a actual kind of not linear way.
Yeah, and I definitely have to agree with that, because there's just, I think of like open world games where you do get stuck going around on side quests and, oh, I really want to explore, and I just get captivated into this, but because there's so little to do other than just puzzles, there's not really an incentive to especially explore around, because I'm just going to get stuck doing another puzzle. I'm not going to know how to do it. I find myself really having to step away from this game after like maybe 30 minutes. Like I'll get, 2 or 3 puzzles done. I'll get stuck on one and just put it down, come back an hour or 2 later, pick it back up again, and that's how I do it. But just overall, like, it just felt like it was lacking something, just a little bit of variety in the type of puzzle. I don't know.
And especially at the price, I mean, if it was like even $20, it would have been less of a criticism, because then it's like, okay, now you've presented a way to kind of go between the puzzles. It's not just like pick puzzle 5 from the menu. But so now we'll get into kind of what I read about the game, because the game doesn't tell you anything. You're just there.
Yeah.
And so, like you said, it reminds you of Myst, and it was inspired heavily by Myst. And that was kind of the exploration aspect is the impression that I got. So, you explore the world in Myst. So that's what they want to do. They wanted to have kind of this exploring game with puzzles. But like I said, is you can't really explore because the puzzles prohibit you from exploring, because they open doors that open new areas that you can explore. And there's not really anything to find other than the world. And the story is basically non-existent. I mean, there's some audio logs, but they kind of didn't really. I don't know. Maybe when you find more of like when you find all of them, they make sense. But they just kind of seemed like quotes from people or something, and yeah, and I couldn't help but feel the open world part was just pointless. It wasn't adding anything to the game. It was just kind of there. And the character is supposed to be you. This is my theory.
Physically me?
Yes, like you. Like if I am playing the game, that character is Randy exploring this world. If you're playing the game, this is Damien exploring this world. You are solving the puzzles, and then the whole point was the whole kind of inspiration and point of the game is for you to kind of have that realization, that epiphany, and solve the puzzle, like you do in a kind of older point and click game. Before before guides were everywhere on the internet, and you actually had to figure everything out yourself. And it does achieve that, but it's not the same kind of satisfaction you get when you have these kind of intricate puzzles that are all together. This one's just like, here's the puzzle, solve it. You might have to solve these other puzzles next to it first to figure out how to solve it. You still get that aha moment, but it's not the same kind of satisfaction when you're like, oh, I can use the widget on the trinket and get the fire axe and cut down the tree that has the clue in it. It's kind of lacking that.
Well, I think, if people go back to our main show,
thing.
Subject 13, I think that because we've just recently did that is kind of, that I saw is just, even though I think we classified it partially action adventure, it had that.
Oh, no, I mean, I would classify it as adventure, but not an action adventure. I mean,
or adventure.
Yeah, an adventure game.
I considered it a puzzle game first and foremost because it was solving puzzles to, work your way around these things. And that kind of is that, okay, this gives me different types of puzzles and scenarios, where this is just, you're walking around, okay, here's another interactive panel, figure it out.
And the other thing I didn't like about this game too is, like you mentioned, is it shows you what panels are linked together. So it's not like you do this panel and then you find out, oh, these ones are linked, I have to do this one and it activates this thing that turns this. Is like there's big lit up wires that clearly show you this panel is attached to this panel. Yeah. And it's like, okay, well, this one's not on, so I'll follow the wire back to this one and then solve it, and then that one turns on. It was too obvious. There wasn't that kind of, and that could have added to the exploration in that, maybe there was a little hint that says, oh, this is, maybe the first one could have been connected with the wire, and then later there might be more subtle hints. And yeah, so if you really like puzzles, you'll enjoy this, but you have to really like puzzles.
really
like puzzles. And hard puzzles. Yeah. Unforgivingly hard puzzles.
With no clue of what you're doing.
So, with no hints. If you get stuck, you're stuck.
Yeah. Unless you know somebody that's played this game that unlocked the achievements, and maybe you can go ask them, or you can go try to find some of the guides online and just kind of watch other people do the puzzles and lose the experience. But it's still going to take you forever this is not, even with guides or whatever out there kind of spoiling everything, this will still not be a quick completion.
Yeah, this is not a quick completion. I mean, it's a very straightforward completion, but it's not quick. There's no way around it. I think I probably played at least 4 hours and didn't get a single achievement. So, I mean, that being said, I did kind of wander. I didn't really focus on one area. I wanted to kind of try everything out, which was difficult.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think the 20 to 30 hour estimate seems pretty spot on.
Yeah. All right. Well,
so with that, we'll see you next week's Review Zed.
Yeah. So thank you everybody for joining, and until next week.
Let us know what you think. Do you like this? Do you not like this? Tell us what you think.